Welcome to this week's episode of Diesel and the Beard.
Welcome back to episode 15 of Diesel and the Beard, featuring yours truly, the Commissioner, aka the Beard, and
Das Wiz, aka Diesel.
aka semi-finalist in the 2020 KFFL Championships.
That's true. That's true. We got here. I can't say I'm surprised, although I think I'm a little surprised after last week's outing. Crazy times in the KFFL.
Crazy
And
times, definitely. There was some upsets really last week too, eh? I mean, it was in the quarterfinals. We weren't on. I was enjoying the bye. Dorian was busy with stockpiling himself, but
yeah, it's been like the last 2 weeks have been crazy. Like rolling into the playoffs, how where everything fell, and then right into first round matchups. They were both really tight. Came down
Weren't
to
they?
the last game. So I mean, good job everyone. It's been a fun season. It's been it's not over yet, but the battle to get into the playoffs was a grind.
Crazy.
And now I feel like the semis were a grind.
Well, we really didn't get to talk too much about that. So maybe, you know what, maybe we should just get everybody up to speed, the people that listen to us and aren't in the league. So Jake was basically riding high most of the season, ended up finishing 7-6, and due to tiebreakers finished 7th. So he ended up as a rookie, not making it in. And obviously Reynolds, I put him down with 3 beatdowns across the entire season. So, I basically turned Reynolds into my Cabbage Patch doll.
Grendog. No participation trophies for Grendog.
No. Now, I will say, and this is for everyone, so obviously this year is the second year where the consolation bracket determines the first overall draft pick. And so Reynolds is, this week we've got Reynolds competing in the semis for that. So
yeah,
it's not all bad, but
it's Reynolds. I don't know how I feel about Reynolds this season. I feel like he's been 1 year removed from Silva now 2 full seasons, and his team is not trending in the right direction. As for Jake, he comes into the league, lays down a beat down the first few weeks, and everyone's like, wow, this guy's real deal. I don't know what happened to Jake in like the later half of the season. I know he's been extremely busy with work and stuff, which is like, okay, there's fantasy, there's real life, but was he not? I don't know.
I think it was that CMC deal, man. Honestly, just so that we can kind of put it all out there. So Jake went and made a trade to acquire CMC. He moved up Miles Sanders, Tyler Boyd. I think there was another piece and then draft capital. But that was
basic for high-end talent.
That's right. And so CMC came back in week 9, beasted, and then went out again. And so we haven't seen him since. And I mean, if I were to lose Dalvin Cook for an extended period of time, obviously that changes the composition of my team.
Sure. And hey, you heard me say it first. I didn't like the McCaffrey deal, except only on Powell's side. We talked early on saying that this is a great deal for Powell. Powell gets into the playoffs. Jake takes on CMC. He was been a fucking Band-Aid all year, and Jake glides out of the playoffs with, I don't know if it's fully that simplex, like, okay, it was the McCaffrey deal.
No, but I believe that decision really changed the overall trajectory of his team.
Yeah, you can't turn your back on the KFFL, man, because it's a nasty little bitch. 1 minute you're in second place, and then playoffs come and a couple tiebreakers fall down like Lego pieces, and then you're sitting on the outside looking in real quick. So
I want to say something on that. The 7-6 record by the 7th place team. So there was a year, I believe it was 2017, where I got in with a 6-7. I just snuck in through tiebreakers. So to see a guy like Jake, 7-6 is the equivalent, to like a 10-6 in the NFL. And teams that don't make it at 10-6, that's heartbreaking. Yeah. So as a rookie, Jake, you did real well. Obviously you surpassed what where Reynolds finished this season. So I mean, there's that,
Yeah,
I
no,
do,
well done.
want to just say that. So the other thing I want to say, I'll give my brother some props here. He finished third, and he obviously took a lot of flack from us throughout the season. But when you look at his record, he's 8-5. He finished third, and he beat Chad last week in the quarterfinals to get through.
Yeah, no, it's again, both games coming down to the Monday nighter. I was just needed Justin Tucker to put up less than.
Sorry, he beat Powell last week. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, you beat Chad.
I beat Chad and he beat Powell.
Which was
and both came down to Monday nighters. It came down to Chubb needing a good game, and it came down to Tucker not needing a good game.
Man,
I needed him.
Oh my God!
Under 11 points.
Man, oh my God, we got to dig into that because we haven't even been able to talk about that. That was ridiculous.
I honestly was going to send congratulations to Chad before the Pittsburgh game. And I said, no, Dorian, don't be that fucking guy. You hate that guy. I literally thought I was done. He needed something like 12 or 13 points out
12
of
points.
Chase Claypool and fucking
Sunday
Justin
night,
Tucker.
Monday night.
2 guys, 2 games, 12 points. Tucker's put up 17 on his own this season multiple times. So Claypool goes out and lays a goose at, I think, less than 2 points. So now I was doing the math.
It was 1 something.
Yeah, 186 or 170. So, I mean, I could pull it up. I'm just,
Even after that, though, honestly, dude, I honestly was like, I feel like this is going to be a sludge game where, the defenses make stops, the bend not break mentality where and I was worried for you. And I just remember
1.50 out of Claypool.
Man, it's unbelievable. Honestly, talk to me about during the game. Yeah, during the Ravens game.
So all day I was breaking down. The thing is, it's hard because normally I'm breaking down data and it's leading me towards a bet. So I'm looking at weather, I'm looking at trends, I'm looking at the team, I'm looking at, wind direction, where it's blowing, and that's going to lead me to what side of a bet I want to be on.
Probability.
But I was doing this just seeing what's Tucker going to do tonight. So, Cleveland historically has been decent against kickers. They were, I think, top 4 or something.
They were top 4.
Cleveland itself is notoriously a hard place to kick, especially later in the year. It's snowy, it's outdoors, it's rainy, and Cleveland's got a real weird wind. So I showed you earlier, I was like, the winds in Cleveland tonight are going to be 27 miles per hour.
Oh, man, that was like a sign.
I'm like, this isn't going to be a good kicking game. Man. However, the game was a blowout in terms of scoring. I mean, I'm pretty sure Baltimore covered the over on their own.
Oh, he's 90 points scored, man.
He was getting there on the singles after the game. It was touchdown, kicks a point after, touchdown, picks point after, point after, point after. So he's creeping all game. Honestly, everything was like, it was a coin flip. He was projected for 8 points. His average on the year was like 10 and a half. If he got 11, Chad wins. If he gets 10, I win. It was like right down the middle. Like you couldn't. It
was 10.
Yeah, it was 10. Yeah,
he got 10.
He put up 8.5.
Okay. All right.
Put up 8.5. And actually, if you go back to it, it comes down to him getting 1 extra point blocked. He had an extra point blocked, and you lose a point for the extra point blocked. So that was the only reason he won, because he hit a 55-yarder at the end of the game, which was worth 6 points or 5.5 points.
If that extra point wasn't blocked, does he win?
Chad's playing you this week.
Wow. Wow. Man, that is insane. The entire season.
If the extra point was good, my whole season would have came down to a 55-yarder with no time left on the clock.
Man.
And he hit it. So he hit it. So if that extra point was good, we'd be going in. Fucking Lamar Jackson's rushing the field. They get a spike off with 3 seconds left. Tucker's running out onto the field. It's a 55-yarder. It's windy. No timeouts left. He kicks it. That would have been like the most dramatic thing. But I knew at that point, even with him hitting it, I knew I was still safe. And I beat Chad by less than 2 points. So, I mean, I've been on the other end of that enough, which we're going to talk about later. But
yeah.
Cody gets an explosion for Chubb. So
Man,
down to
that's
Chubb. If
so.
Chubb gets stuffed up that game, Cody's not playing this week either. So it literally came down to one
Dude.
game, 2 players, and it was a coin flip either way.
Dude, I actually thought though, like I'm being honest, okay? If you go and look at the match between my brother and Powell, okay?
Yeah.
So I was giving my brother props earlier. So Cody, well done.
Job, Code.
Finishing third is good.
Knock if you're with me.
And you've made it the furthest you've ever made it by your own word, and so that's also something to be proud of. The league is not an easy league, but when I look at where you were down by it's looking about 60 points approximately. Don't hold me to that, but it's about there. It's give or take. And that was around 7:30 on Sunday. And at that point, the Buffalo Bills decided that they were going to just play catch and toss, or sorry, toss and catch between Allen and Diggs.
Yeah. Allen, 22, and then Diggs puts up another 22 for 44.
So after that, we moved to the Monday night game. And so there was still a deficit of about, let's say 10 points, 12 points, something like that.
It would have to be more than that because Cody only won by 6 points, 7 points.
7.
And
so maybe he was down by 13.
He won by 7, and Chubb put up 22 and a half.
So 15. He was down by 15.
Yeah.
So that's still a sizable amount. I mean, if you have a starting running back, it's going to come down to, does he break 100 yards and or get a touchdown? Well, when we're taking a look at this guy, I mean...
And versus Baltimore.
I was just going to say, you're looking at a stud, but you're going in a bad matchup. He had 82 yards on the ground, and he had 2 touchdowns. I mean...
Yeah.
That's what studs do. Chubb is a bona fide RB1. I think he has to be in that top 5 discussion. I mean,
which Cody will be glad to hear, because I've been like, Chubb is real deal, but he's...
Oh no, he's real deal. I mean, Cody remembers, and I mean, whether he'll admit it or not, I gave him Chubb, and I probably schooled him in Chubb before he knew who Chubb was. And he's maintained that confidence in him, and look what it's doing. I mean, you know, if you want to look at my team, there's a few guys I've homegrown.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams. You got to hold these guys through their shit until they bloom. And sometimes they don't bloom. But in this case...
The worst thing in the world is talking a guy into a player and then them telling you about that player later on.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Come on.
And, you know, Cody, you put a great team together. You have just as much a shot as anyone. I'd say you have a better shot to win the championship than I do, based on my matchup and based on, I think, your team's overall ceiling. So I get to take some loving shots at you here. But I think, you know, you've done a good job with your team. But last year, we were watching the Raiders game. It was near the end of the season. I'm pretty sure I was already eliminated. I don't know if I was, well, I guess it would have been before the trade deadline, because we were talking to trade.
So like mid-November. And
he was telling me that DK Metcalf was not as good as Tyrell Williams. I'm pretty sure it was Tyrell Williams. He said there's no spot on the team for DK. And then it's funny because fast forward, because I was trying to
I remember it. Was it Tyrell Williams or was it a different player?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Tyrell Williams, because he's a
joke.
He was like, I think it was Galladay. He might have had one of the Detroit Lion receivers. He was like, this guy's a beast. He's my 1-1. There was a second guy he had that was like, I think it was probably Devontae Parker, who had a really good end of the last year. He did,
yeah, it would have been.
And so he's like my third receiver spot. And at that point, I think it was Tyrell Williams or it was, I'm pretty sure it was Tyrell Williams. He was having a better year than DK at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, you can't just fucking use this. And then he goes on about the Billy Bean money ball. Points are the only thing that matters. I'm looking at the points. It says Williams has, 85 fantasy points and DK has 65. Williams is better. That's how you judge it. It's by points. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about?
Such a shallow measure.
And then, roll forward. So, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there for the Chubb talks, but it would be actually funny because now if you talk to Cody about Chubb, the guy's the best fucking running back.
Cody raped me. I mean, Chubb was a throw-in. I gave up on him too early. Like, I mean, it's not all bad for him.
But at the time, you were probably like, Cody, Chubb's going to be good. Like,
of course. I gave him to him. It
sucks when you do that because it's like now fucking Rosie's got DK. I had to do the same thing. Rosie traded him, but I
Powell
had to
has
talk
DK.
Rosie into fucking DK.
Yeah.
And then he gets a big haul for him, and now Powell's laughing at me, Cody, and fucking Rosie because we all were trying to get rid of him. I thought DK was going to be good, not this good, this quick.
He's the future. He's the future WR1. I'm telling you right now, him and AJ Brown are going to be the top two guys. They're just the physical specimen with the consistency at this early stage. The consistency doesn't go away. It only gets better. Like you got guys like Tyler.
Going to stay this good though?
Yeah, man, he's already 2 years. The sample size was 1 year, and then you see it to 2 years, and that's that's when because the 1 year of tape. He's not that old, man. Like quarterback,
he's not that young.
But when we're talking quarterback is a different breed, man.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's a late bloomer, I'm telling you, because he was a receiver in college.
Yeah.
So I think that he's just kind of getting into his. I love it, man. I have him on my team. He's my backup quarterback. So. And then I guess we should probably just
I mean, we've just been rambling on about the week's unfoldings, but I mean, we can get kind of into our script here. And
what I want to do is I want to close the loop on week 14, and then we can jump right into the juicy stuff for this week.
Sure.
So in week 14, in the consolation, we had Craig versus Justin, and Justin smashed him out. And then we also had Rosie against Loudon, which Loudon was a pretty big favorite, and Rosie had the upset. So that basically means Rosie and Reynolds and JV and Jake this week. And then the other two on the championship side, Dorian got by Chad, as we mentioned, and my brother upset Powell. And so moving to this week, we have Dorian and I, Diesel and the Beard, are facing off in the semifinals. You've got my brother.
Which I don't like.
Well, yeah, I mean,
when did reseeding not become a thing?
It would be no different. You'd still face me because you're the fourth, and the other two are 2-3. So
Cody finished 3.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I thought it was ahead of. So I was 4.
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, fuck it then.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking if Powell won. If Powell won, I still played you, and I was ahead of Powell. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's 100% it. Yeah.
And I would still play you, which I didn't.
Well, we're talking about migrating, just as a sidebar. We're talking about migrating to a different fantasy site next season. So
really?
if we go ahead and do that, I mean, just as an example, I'm not saying this is what we're going to do. It'll be a democratic approach. But what I'm saying is if you go to CBS Sports, it's a paid site, but the customization ability on it is incredible. Like you can change anything. You can trade future draft picks if you want. You can, so anyways, these are some of the things hopefully the site can address.
Yeah. God, NFL just feels like an old slipper to me now.
Yeah, I know. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, there is some lacking.
So let's kick off with the analysis on my brother and the duo. So the number 3 Cody versus number 2 the duo.
Yeah.
It's a pick'em. It's with under a point spread currently. So and I think that's appropriate, just given some of the numbers. Because the duo is a newer ownership group, which was established in 2019. I only went back that far. So the season series, duo won in week 10, 99-90. All-time series record between the two groups. Dynamic duo is up 2-0. And the average margin of victory is 26 points. The duo obviously are on a 2-game winning streak, and they won last year, week 7, 103-60. So tell me what your thoughts are on this matchup. Just taking a look at we're going to spend, I guess, the bulk of our time analyzing the matches. So what do you think here?
I mean, the first thing that I was looking at when I was looking at this matchup during the week, Cody has some unfavorable matchups with his Buffalo guys. Buffalo is traveling to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Denver is snowy, cold, and outdoors. And then you add in the altitude. Yeah. So that, I mean, he's going to have Allen going, probably Diggs go. Well, definitely Diggs going. And then I don't know who he's planning. Maybe one of the running backs. I'm not sure. But I don't like that. I much prefer Mahomes in a warm dome in New Orleans, which is looking to probably be a shootout. If Breeze comes back, which I don't know do you know if he's back?
There's a high chance that he does come back, but we'll have to see. I
I've
mean,
heard high probability. I haven't heard a automatic go. But if Breeze comes back and that game turns into a shootout, like I think that's where this matchup's going to be won and lost. Is like whose QB goes nuclear. I always find it comes down to QBs. And then as you go through the rest of the depth chart, I just think that Silva edges Cody in depth, and that's no secret. Cody knows his depth is. He needs his Buffalo Bills to play like fucking gods, and that's how he's been winning games. And we've been saying all year, he goes as Buffalo goes, and they have been going, and he has been winning. So, but I mean, when you start doing matchups like even lower down on Silva's or Silva and Nielsen's team, like even Montgomery, who I don't really like, but like if you
he's
look
RB7
at
on the week.
McKissick, so
RB28.
Yeah, so I mean that is even the shittier of the duos team, and then Dobbins and Jacksonville. I like that over Fournette. Fournette's, he's feast or famine. And
He's an inactive. He was an inactive last week. I mean, what are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you got Cooks, who's questionable, versus Hopkins. It's a no-brainer. And then you got Cody's star receiver Diggs, but then Brown. So
Brown's a WR4, Diggs is a WR6. I mean,
Holiday McLaren. I'm on the McLaren.
But Galladay's not playing. He's going to be in the Holiday Inn. So
I thought he was doubtful, but not.
Yeah, he is doubtful. He's not. He's toast.
Okay,
he's going to be putting in that Charger.
Parker's questionable. Ew.
So let me ask you something. If we were to envision a reality where my brother wins, what do you think what sort of outcome roster wise would we be seeing? And what I mean by that is, are we going to have to see another Josh Allen explosion?
Oh yeah, Cody needs a Josh Allen, Diggs, and a Buffalo running back touchdown to just be like, if Allen and Diggs don't go, and they just if Diggs puts up a goose egg and Allen has an 18-point week, Cody never wins. He will never win a game in this league. When Allen puts up 40 and Diggs puts up 20, and then he gets a fucking 15-pointer out of one of the Buffalo backs, he's competitive because the rest of his roster can chip in enough to win. And he's had some roster luck too, because his points for weren't great this year.
That's true. That is true. I'm actually, Dorian, what I did is I went back and looked at when he beat me in week 2. He beat me, just for the audience, he beat me 162 to 139.
Yeah.
And this is I guess where I'm going with this is, I personally believe, and a lot of people think I'm biased, I personally believe this type of scenario is the scenario that is needed for him to win. So Allen put up 50 points. Chubb put up 30 points.
Yeah.
He didn't have Diggs at the time, but he did have John Brown, who put up 14 points. And that's, I think, where you're going to see the floor needed out of Diggs.
Well, I mean, I think Chubb's going to have a good game too. Like I just assume Chubb's always putting up 15. But on top of that, you need 30 out of Allen every week, 20 out of Diggs every week, and then Chubb. Because Schultz isn't going to do shit for you. Galladay's out, so now you got to find some other bum to plug and play and hope that he gets a TD or some long catch.
He picked up that kid for the Chargers, Johnson.
Yeah, Tyron.
Yeah. And he plays tonight.
Yeah,
just for the audience, man, just as an
let's
aside.
Not forget Cody's win last week came down to a massive waiver wire move, putting the Washington football team's defense as a plug-and-play team. And I'm pretty sure Powell felt sick when he actually woke up and realized that they put up 23. Is this thing on? 23 fucking points. We're not
how many?
Having 23.
Holy shit.
Outscored Nick Chubbs, outscored Stephon Diggs, outscored Josh Allen almost. No, he did outscore Josh Allen. Josh Allen put up 22.32. Washington put up 23 fucking points. The highest scoring fucking defense of the week and the highest scoring fucking player in Cody's roster last week.
Man, honestly, Powell, I feel sick in my stomach for you right now, man. I got to say this, Powell, good for you, bud. You made the playoffs. you had the fucking wherewithal to trade CMC. I've said it on the show before, but I'll reiterate it. Yeah, okay, whatever. I might be fucking blowing his greenhorn, fucking blowing up his ego. Don't matter. Traded CMC. The number of guys in this league that should have taken notes off that transaction is staggering.
It's hard to do.
Because it is hard to do.
You know, you can talk the shit and run the numbers and know it's a good move, but moving that name brand guy is always hard. I struggled with it in the past.
My brother did it too.
Drew Brees right into this year. I drafted him when the fucking league started, I just rode my little boat with Brees all the way into 2020, and finally I was like, he's got to go. And you know, then I go and get another old guy named Brand Rogers. He just happens to be playing well, but I love name brand, so I get it. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
He did do it.
Yeah.
But back to Cody.
Yeah.
We're not even having the discussion unless his D goes the fuck off. So now he's got Dolphins D in against New England again, which is, you know, it's divisional. Don't know.
I like that, actually. I actually like that. I think that he's going to get a touchdown off that one. You heard it here first, folks. I think that the Dolphins D scores a touchdown. What does that pay on Bet365, by the way?
I'll look that up. We can come back to that. But you know what? Seattle has been kind of like all year. You know, like one day they look good, one day they can't score. Mm-hmm. If I'm Cody and how good Washington's defense is playing, I might go in and just say start them because, you know, they might have a lower floor, but they definitely have a higher ceiling. I mean, with Chase Young coming off the edge and just he looks like what Jadeveon Clowney was supposed to be. Blowing quarterbacks up, scooping balls, and going to the fucking house.
Chase Young, good point, man. Holy shit. Sometimes you watch a game, and you and I have been watching football since 2001?
Yeah.
You watch a game, and you know with your eyes. I always say this to you when we're watching together. Trust your eyes. Your eyes, if you've watched football for 10 years, you have this.
Does it pass the eye test?
Does it pass the eye test? That you can't watch a snap on prime time or wherever and it be the Washington football team's defense and it not be something to do with Chase Young. The guy is like he's Khalil Mack meets Jadeveon, man.
Oh yeah, he is. He's good.
Long arms.
I watched it. He was doing a stunt and coming around the other side. The ball came up. Then he ran back across the line, grabs the ball off the ground like
he did one-handed it.
His teammate was scooping at it, and he just comes flying by, scoops it up, and then he goes about 60 yards to the fucking house.
I remember this play.
Outran everyone.
And that's the Khalil side.
He looked shitty the first half of the season. Everyone's like, oh, Chase Young. Apparently his mom was like, what's wrong with you? You're playing like shit. And then ever since she said that, he's been just lights out. So if I'm looking at it and
it's like Donovan's mom.
Yeah.
Remember Donovan McNabb?
Yeah. The chunky commercials.
Man. She just gave him a whooping and he was like, all right, I'm back.
So for me, I mean, I would probably look at that. How does a team put up 23 points and you go and you put them on the bench next week? So I don't know. Mm-hmm. Are you going to get Myers? Okay, we're not going to talk about Schultz. Then you got Tyron Johnson going in. And then you got
Tyron Johnson's rating in the last 5 minutes has this is what I was going to say earlier. It went from 51 to 45 already, his ECR.
Really?
So, yeah, I think he's going to end up being a solid grab for my brother. Good on him, man. He goes tonight, too.
Well, I mean, he's going to need something to happen. I don't see J.D. McKissick or Leonard Fournette doing much. And Brandon Cooks is like, maybe he gets a touchdown, maybe he doesn't. So I just think he's a lot thinner through the lineup than, you know, Mahomes, Montgomery, Dobbins, Hopkins, Brown, McLaren, Gronk.
It's won and lost at the receiver position for me, and A.J. Brown's the WR4, Hopkins is the WR5, McLaren is the WR13, Cooks is a WR53, Diggs is a WR6, Galladay is a WR129, and if we put Johnson in, he's a WR45. I don't really think there's a scenario where, like if you want to say, okay, cross out, on the equation, cross one out on both sides, okay, cross a denominator off, all right, I'll throw Diggs and Brown off, okay.
Sure.
Hopkins at the WR5 against WR53. I mean, that's so lopsided.
Yeah.
And then you go down to McLaren at WR13, and let's use Johnson as WR45. We're not talking about guys on Silva and Nielsen's side that are flash in the pan. Brown, Hopkins, and McLaren all lead their team in targets. It's unquestionable. Those are opportunity-driven players.
Yeah.
If you look on the other side, Diggs is like that, but Cooks and Johnson, those guys are. If Cooks plays and Johnson's there, those are guys that are going to need to flash.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And Cody needs flash. He's going to need flash this week. It's no
yep,
secret. You know, the
yep.
duo's been good. They've been putting up big weeks. J.K. Dobbins seems to be just kind of hitting his stride at the right time.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I think it'll be a good matchup as long
Hmm.
as Allen and Diggs come to play.
I was just gonna
If
say,
they
yeah.
can put that up, if they
What do
don't,
you
it's
think
over.
they do on the hot? What do you think the ceiling for them is
I mean,
in
I
this?
hate the Denver situation. I've seen enough.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Raiders fan, so I watch AFC West games, more than anything.
Hmm.
And fucking Denver in December
Hmm.
is brutal. You could get 4 feet of fucking snow for the game, and and it could come in, drop 4 feet of snow, and now it's a shitty running game. With both teams are cold and they're running down the clock,
Yep.
and it's a 7-3 win. You
Yep.
can get a windy game, you can get a rainy game, you can get
Mhm.
piss pouring in Denver, and
Well, in the
just
altitude, man. I mean, guys that have never
yeah,
trained or played, like John Brown, I'm fairly certain, excuse me, that he had a sickle cell trait or something like that. So, I mean, but looking at it, so Diggs is implied for 60 yards and a touchdown. That's what they're
yeah,
implying for with his point total. And then they're saying with if Allen's going to throw at least one touchdown, they're looking at him about 250 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. Do you think 250 and one tutty for Allen and 60 and one for Diggs? I mean, I don't think that gets it done.
yeah. No, I don't. I think they need to go way over their projections. I think Allen's got to put up at least 30, maybe
Hmm.
35, and Diggs
Hmm.
has to put up at least 20. That's where
Hmm.
Cody needs to start at, and he starts on Saturday there. And if he can get a fucking any time out of Tyron, is
Hmm.
it Tyron Johnson?
Yeah, the TJ. I
He
loved it, man. I saw something blip up on my ticker, and I was
Well,
like, "Wow!"
Silva
And I
was
went,
messaging. I think he threw us a message in our group chat saying he loved the Tyron anytime.
"Well, that's why I went and looked." And then I saw my brother had him, and it was like, "Oh shit, things are getting real spicy here."
Yeah,
So,
I actually purposely didn't go make any moves this week.
me
It's
too.
like I'm
I
trying
just
not to
started it out of
over tinker.
necessity, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I
so
mean,
let's get a verdict, Dorian. I honestly think that I honestly think the duo gets by. I've picked against them enough to know.
yeah,
So I'm going to say the duo, and that's not because I don't want Cody to win. Obviously, if I could see my brother in the finals, that would be cool. Um, but
yeah. It'd
or
be cool.
you see him. I don't know. But what do you? Who's your pick?
I gotta go duo. I mean, and I want Cody to win just because I think if you get through, which is my prediction, then it'd be kind of a cool brother battle. And I also
Hmm.
think if Cody's team on the right week can beat you, in fact, he's the only team that beat you this year.
Hmm.
So I
Oh,
think
that's not
again,
crazy.
Cody's got like the whole highest ceiling, lowest floor, maybe out of
Hmm.
the four guys.
The most
Or
volatile.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, because Allen could go out and drop a 60 burger just as easily as he can go and put up a 15. So
Hmm.
I like that, but I have to say, if I was putting my money on this, I got the duo, and I got them by probably 20 points.
Wow. So you're going for a smashing.
I just like their matchups, and like I think a lot of
Uh-huh.
their guys, like AJ Brown's playing out of his mind right now.
Oh
He looks
man,
good.
man.
McLaren's looking better as the year goes on.
Hmm.
Gronk's getting his end zone looks. The only thing I
Hmm.
don't really like about fucking the duo's roster is Jeff Wilson in the flex.
I don't even mind it, man.
I
If you
know
watch
it.
if you watch the way they use him, he's a 1 and 2 downer, man.
I
Mostert's
know, and
ankle's screwed.
he's had some good weeks. I don't
He
like
gets
Jeff.
looks in the red zone too, or the gold zone, whatever they call it now in Green Bay. But um, yeah, okay, well that's good. I think it's important that we spend some time on these because these guys have worked really hard, and
Yeah,
it's really showing that the level of competition, as high as it was before, can be increased, and we're seeing that. So.
absolutely.
So I'll let you dig in. I guess I introduced the first one. Why don't we get to our match? And
Sure.
obviously, we're not going to get corny and be picking,
Yeah,
but like I think it's cool the history here. So
it
I'll
is
let you
cool.
introduce it.
This has been a battle we've had forever. I mean, going back
Hmm.
to Madden days, going into
Hmm.
fantasy, you and I always
Hmm.
want to beat each other at whatever we do. It's a competitive edge.
Well, the thing is, man, and I know and the numbers are going to prove this, but there's certain people that when I have them on my schedule, whether it's Madden, golf,
Yeah.
gambling, poker, or football, fantasy football, I circle it, and that's you and I, 100%.
I'm very surprised at what the all-time season series is. I didn't think it would be as lopsided as that, but I have to be honest, the first few years of fantasy, I was a terrible fantasy owner. I didn't know much about it. I don't want to say I lucked into a win, but
Mhm.
I just drafted good and my guys played well. But like where my knowledge is with fantasy now, I think is night and day of where it was even 5 years ago. And so to see that you own the series record at 11-3 versus me is
Well,
crazy to me.
okay. Before we jumped on air, and obviously 11-3 is a smashing, but how many of these matches
There's a
were
lot of
decided
close ones. Yeah, yeah.
not just close, less than a point?
Yeah, there's actually too many of those, but you seem to keep edging me out. So I don't know if that's just, you're a little bit better than me or you're a little bit luckier than me. I don't really know what to chalk it up to, but
Man,
you go
man,
through the matchups.
it's not. It's in my opinion when
The
it's that
first match
close,
we ever played, 2011,
week 5.
114.24 to 114.06. So 0.19th of a
Oh
point.
my God,
And then so that's
man!
where it starts. And then, again, 2011,
I wish we
I
could
won.
show this, Dorian. We've played 14 games against each other.
Maybe you should throw this up on the Facebook page and let guys see it.
Yeah,
Just these stats.
that's
Then the same year I beat you 122 to 103. And then I win again 165 to 149.60. So
you had the first winning streak.
Yeah, so I was the first 3 games. Dorian's winning 2 of 3,
And in the first 3 games, you have a fucking title.
Yeah,
And I don't.
And then you go on a tear right after that. So basically, from 2012 to 2016, we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and you won all 8. And
I got mad, man. You got me fired up back in 2012.
Well, you put up 181 against me the next time we played after 2012 and 20. Oh, that was 2012 in the semis.
Yep.
I put up 139. You put up 181. Mm-hmm. Then AJ, you put up 172. You beat me. I put up 103. That was a stomping. And then you beat me in the championship 103 to 102.84. So that was my second shot at a championship.
Oh, man.
I lost a similar one to Loudon. And then, AJ wins. Semifinals in 2014, 115.38 to 114.30, just over a full point.
This is fucked, man.
That's just, what are you going to do about that? I'm in the games, I'm battling. And it'd be unique to know, we're just looking at numbers, but I have no idea where I finished these years or where you finished these years. I feel it's a lot like when Toronto plays the Habs in hockey. It doesn't matter if the Habs are the fucking worst team in the league and Toronto's number 1. It's always a tight game somehow. It's like the Habs could have 2 wins all year. The Leafs could be undefeated, and the game's going to be 2-1 in OT.
Absolutely. Man, do you remember the Red Wings and the Avs in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
They could be 1-8. They could be 4-5. It did not matter. They were going to bloody each other.
Yeah, it was a bludgeoning of fucking minds.
Yeah.
Then in the new era, so 2016, AJ beats me 119 to 112 in week 8. And then we don't see each other again until 2017, where I win 137 to 94.
Yep.
And then we don't see each other again till 2000. How is that possible? We only seen each other once in 15, once in 16, once in 17, once in 18. AJ wins 86.44 to 76.62. That's a gross looking matchup.
Dude, that was I was bottom of the fucking barrel that year.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just, I think I got you on a bye week or something.
Yeah.
Because I was trashed that year.
And then 2019, AJ wins 116 to 101. So it's been a storied rivalry for sure.
Oh man, there's very few rivalries in this league. And to be honest with you, once Ed left, he carried with him a few of the rivalries. So I honestly, in terms of you want to say Yankees, Bo Sox, you want to say Leafs, Habs, you want to say Packers, Bears, or Cowboys and Redskins. It's Dorian, it's Diesel and the Beard.
There's not as much of the bad blood as there used to be. Ed had some bad blood with a lot of people. You had some bad blood. I had some bad blood. But now there's been a lot of new owners. There's only a few of us that go back to the original. And I've never really had bad blood with, Cody in fantasy.
Mhm.
Chad's got bad blood with everybody.
Well, except when he turned his back on you in the Mahomes trade, that
Yeah.
sparked a bit of a. But I know where you're going with it. I mean, now I think what's happened is it's become a bit more of a gentleman's league, which means that you've got a lot more to worry about. If people aren't focusing their energy on what the hell they're going to say to you in Twitter, and they're focusing it on their research and their numbers and their mock drafts and their channeling with the other owners. I mean, we're in a time now. This is like Risk. This is no longer Monopoly. We're now playing the board game of world domination.
It's true. And everyone's a nice guy, you know. I'm not like, I don't fucking really like that guy. I want to pound him.
Do you remember TJ and Ed, man? Honestly, for anyone that wasn't in the league, TJ left.
Yeah.
He was good. He legitimately was good. I think he finished first actually in 1 year, not the championship, but in the season. But him and Ed had such a hatred for each other. Like
crazy. Yeah.
Go back and look on the wall. It was, if Ed said something, TJ just fucking blew it up. And if TJ said something, Ed would just blow it up.
It was bad. And Silva had a little bit of that going on with some people. He had like the Ed effect where like Silva came into the league as Ed's buddy, and Silva had it. But now, I mean, I don't know. Some people might have an issue with Silva, but I mean, personally, he's I think everyone in this league for the most part is a great guy. So you don't have that. But me and you just have a competition. Like, I want to fucking crush you, and you want to fucking crush me. But at the end of the day, we're gonna shake hands and be like, you know what, 100%. Good fucking battle. And
that's the thing. In defeat, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter if you had won those or I had won them. One of us is winning them. And that's why when I say it's that rivalry, it's like, we're not just talking about fucking matches during the season that were for a barrel of fucking Cheetos. It's like, this is for the trophy. This is for the money. This is for the ring. This is for the title of champion.
It is.
And so when you're facing off against one of your best friends 14 times, with 4 of them being in the playoffs for stakes, that to me is what makes. Well, fuck, man.
I mean, I can handle a league, a season loss, like whatever. I duck off or water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
But once your season gets ended by your friend, you're just oh, fuck.
Well, I mean,
also, you're just this fucking like big giant storming through the league with like a fucking battle axe, just crushing people's helmets.
Shit, man.
Lord of the Rings. You have a good team. It's a good team. It is what it is. You assembled a fucking great roster.
It's luck, man. Honestly, I'm not going to say that I got lucky, but it's one of those things where, hey, maybe
all your guys are firing. You like the guy and he's firing. You didn't think Henry would be as good. No one did. He didn't start the year like this.
Man, I
now
got
it's just
Henry,
like 202 tutties every game.
Game, man. When I got him, I know why I got him. He wasn't playing very well, and then he was dealing with a minor injury, and then COVID happened, and it's like you were looking at a 2-week gap. I don't think Valdez. I think Valdez is competitive. Like, we know you know him. He's not a pushover.
No.
And so I think he was like, all right, let's get what I can get, and he got a ton, and let's move on. He got James Robinson, so it's like he got a guy. I went 2 weeks without a third running back.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I look at that and I go, Henry to me was like I did last year with Tyreek. I had Jones. I got Jones off you last year, week 1. So that gave me my running backs. And then when I went to the receiving, I was like, I need that extra piece. I want that piece that's going to overwhelm my competition before the game even starts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this year it was like, I want the Super Camario bus to roll up to the stadium. And I want it to be Cook gets off, then Kamara gets off, and then the Yeti gets off.
The Yeti. Yeah, and, I think that's a big part. People don't talk enough about that is like, yeah, okay, you can make the trades and you can be the big trade guy. But sometimes the trades, like, for example, I went out and I got Aaron Jones. And honestly, Aaron Jones' first few games, he went 13 points, then he went 44 points, then he went 14 points, then he went 17 points. And then I bring him in, and I think he went 10, and he was injured for 2 games. Then he went 7, 9, 13, 9. Then he gave me a 23 week to beat Powell, which was thankful. And then his other week was 7.5. So I went and made a trade for a big name guy. He was right in the top 5 running backs. I needed something, paid Craig picks, and that trade, it's okay. Like, I'll plug and play Jones every week, no question, but it's not the production you're getting out of Henry. And when you went and traded for Dalvin Cook, you started getting those 20 point, 25 point weeks out of him almost at like,
Well, he was a rookie, and I did get them, and then he
not
hurt his
right away,
ACL.
but once you
No,
put him
no,
in
he was good. He was
Kamara, you got
Yep.
him too, and then he was blowing up. He's slowed off a bit now.
Yeah,
And so,
with
I mean,
Taysom.
I've kind of like, I feel like I'm bringing in these guys and I'm expecting more out of them than they're giving me. They're kind of giving me, no one's really playing to their potential on my team is what I feel like. So that's
I
when
mean,
trades get hard.
Julio's not.
No, yeah, Julio.
I mean, honestly, James Robinson, that you bringing
He's
him
been
in,
good. He's been good. I have nothing
Yeah.
bad to say about James. Last week was a tight one for him. He didn't play overly great. Julio Lockett's died
Game
right
script.
off.
Oh, that Lockett is unfortunately for you, man.
He was playing phenomenal, and then just something.
It's
just,
a DK show, and that's what's happened. Is you're just seeing a guy. Listen, there's guys in the league that'll take your job. It doesn't matter what you try to do; they
Yeah.
will just take it.
Yeah.
And I think,
That being
unfortunately
said,
for
Russ
you,
isn't playing as good as Russ was playing in the first 5 weeks of the season.
No,
because DK
you're right.
is playing well, but the
Mhm.
Seattle's not the fucking super force we thought they were by
No.
any means.
Is there an O-line injury or something? Something has changed. Was it Carson being out? They had to change their identity?
Sure, man. Honestly, I honestly don't know. But like Russ, the first 3 weeks, it was like DK's getting balls, Lockett's getting balls, fucking DJ Moore's getting balls, Carson's running balls. And then somewhere around week 5 or 6, it was just like, yeah, DK had a few big games, but no one else is doing shit. Russ is getting sacked. They're turning the ball over, 3 and outs all over the place.
Terrible.
I was
Pits,
high
too.
on Seattle for a while, and then it just went to shit.
Dude, Russ was an early MVP candidate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let
Like-
Russ cook. It was like the fucking hashtag of everything. And now DK's still putting up good numbers. Lockett's like, yeah, he's whatever, 6 to 10 a game, but
let's take a look at our match then, because I want at some of the player matchups to give everyone an idea of what they're in store for.
Yeah.
So I mean, just taking a quick peek at your team. So you've got a presence with Green Bay, obviously. And with Aaron Jones obviously playing against Carolina, I feel like that's a really juicy matchup. Carolina really isn't that great against the run. So
yeah.
I truly look at that and go, if you're going to get a guy in a position, you want them to be in a favorable one. I don't know how that affects Rodgers. I think Rodgers every week from the looks of it is just going to get his.
Yeah.
So I think you're actually going to be in store for a traditional game script, which is one where you pass early, run late. I really, truly do. And if you get a Jones passing or a Jones receiving touchdown,
I haven't gotten many of those this year, but that would be
a nice double. That scares me. That scares me. I feel like you're due, actually.
Yeah. So. I mean, you also have Adams though. You're gonna neutralize some of my Rodgers effect. So I mean, that's just is what it is.
Well, I did that to a few guys actually. So I mean, and that's a purposeful thing. Obviously, like with you, it's kind of a result of that trade. But when we look at a guy like Gabriel Davis, I just picked up. I have John Brown. I did that with the idea that if I do play Cody, I have the ability to lower the ceiling for his top guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, because they have Mahomes. Again, it's one of those things where I considered trading him. I'm not going to trade him because if I face these guys in the playoffs, it's going to be tough,
Yeah. Strong moves, chestnut checkers,
Exactly,
sometimes guys look at their team too much. It's a little bit like poker, it's not about what you have in your hand all the time. Sometimes it's about what other people have in their hand.
Oh, or in what they represent and where they're going,
So
100%.
So you can't look at your own team too much and just try and be. Sometimes you got to think like this starts better because it takes away, like running your defense against someone's quarterback or vice versa. Like, though I've seen those plays before. Ed used to do a little bit of that where you'd have a quarterback in and he would start the defense against you. And if they did good, then, he's like double winning because your quarterback's getting less points and their defense is getting more points, especially with picks and shit. And so once you start delving into that side of fantasy, things just get deep.
This might be, so with giving the audience some ECR numbers, which are the expert consensus rankings from Fantasy Pros. And so you've got the QB1 on the week, you've got the RB4, RB8. And so I've got the QB3, and then I've got the RB1 and RB2. Well, what people at home may not know, I've never played against someone this year and I've said this to you since you made that final running back move, you have the second best running back room currently.
Yeah.
You have Aaron Jones, and that's lately, and that's the last 2 weeks, because when we drop down and look, you have Cam Akers and he's RB10, and I have Alvin Kamara and he's RB12. You've got me there.
Yeah.
So these are the numbers that I really haven't had to deal with. At the receiver level, again, it's not bad, man. I mean, I've got the 1 and 2, but you've got 5, and then you've got 34. But on your bench, I mean, you've got Antonio Brown sitting there, and also, I mean, Julio should be a top 10 receiver if he's healthy. So and Tampa's defense has fallen off quite a bit.
I have there's a few moves I could make before game time, and like there is some guys I've looked at, like Curtis Samuel. He's had games where he's put up 2 touchdowns, right? So there's a little bit more for me to dig into here. Russell Gage last week, he's a bit of a gadget guy. He put up 14 points with a thrown touchdown. They know they like to get him in there. Lazard could be just the triple stack and just go for it.
It's working for Cody. Like,
I know. I thought about it. But I do have some other good receivers. Like, Antonio Brown's on my bench right now. I like diversifying the games, because if you just get one game that's shitty, could end you real quick. And Todd Gurley's just sitting there too. It's like, he could come out and put up 2 touchdowns just as easily as anyone.
He is a TD or bust now, I feel.
Yeah, he is. I'm not going to get 100 yards.
No.
But Akers has kind of earned his role in the last 2 weeks, especially. He's just kind of
special, man. When you watch that explosion. Well, you know what? For everybody at home, Dorian took him in the first round. Was it 3rd or 4th overall?
It was 3rd, yeah.
3rd overall over DeAndre Swift. The only 2 that were taken were Taylor and CEH. So you've really had to wait, 12 weeks?
Yeah, he got injured the first game. I think they just let him rest up, and then it was just the Henderson and Malcolm Brown show. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are they not running this kid? Do they not like him in camp? It looks like he's healthy now. It looks like it's his backfield finally, and he might be the best runner of the bunch. And,
I like him, man. I think it's his backfield as well. So I'm currently dealing with a WR3 issue. And for anyone out there that's, yammering on about COVID, just shut it, because I got Marquise Brown off a real nice waiver grab 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And what does he go and do? He goes and catches himself the COV.
Yeah, and then you got Fuller, who's just juicing out. He's sus.
Oh, he's no capping, man. He's sus.
Yeah, he's sus. No capping, sus. Bitch be banging. But
I picked up Gabe Davis. Buffalo.
I like Gabe Davis, actually. I like anyone that Allen's throwing to right now.
So do I, man. So do I. That's exactly it. I'm surprised my brother didn't have him. He might have just been.
Well, how many Buffalo can you have? Like, there's got to be a limit. So you're rolling Lamar this week.
Yeah, I have to, man. I have to. Jacksonville is such a sweet matchup. It might be the best they've had all year. So
yeah, it is.
My concern with Jacksonville, if I'm being honest, is that Baltimore.
They pull them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, I like, but I guess the part of that is Jackson is such an smart runner, and that's the difference. When you remember back to RG3, for example, okay, he wasn't intelligent. He was gifted, but he would get hit. He would extend. That extra yard isn't worth the abuse long term you're going to take.
Yeah. He looks like a deer running down the 401, just trying to avoid cars that eventually gets hit by a truck.
You're going to die. Go to the side and run through the ditch. And that's
Lamar is a fucking athlete. I'll tell you that. Watching him on Sunday night was or I guess Monday night was.
Yeah, he's now. Do you remember him leaving with the cramps?
Yeah, I think he
had to shit.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I've been in that point of a football game where you're like, I got to shit, and then you just go.
It definitely did, and then he comes back and casually throws a fucking bomb to Marquise.
That game was a great game. I hated it because I'm sweating the fucking.
I lost money. I think I lost $300. It was sad.
Would you have Cleveland or?
I was just going. No, I was going. I was going Cleveland. Yes, and it just. I'll show you when I see.
Everyone scored a fucking touchdown. I don't know how you didn't hit the anytimes.
Because I was going. I'll show you. I was going for like Maltese, and I was just getting too fancy. You know when you get too fancy, you look into it. So what I did was I set averages, and then I was seeing who was due.
Yeah. And
some of them were value, but I just have to not get fancy. Some guys are going to score.
Yeah.
And just bet on like Chubb Malty was. Just take it. Yeah, it's paying you. It wants you to take it.
I think I got murdered on Sunday too, actually. Well, not murdered, just I don't know. I showed a couple tickets in the chat where like one game off 1,500, one game off 1,400.
Oh,
like,
Houston. It
yeah,
was
Houston lost one.
Oh,
Seattle, something.
what was your
with,
big one? You had a juicy ticket.
Yeah, I had like a 60K or brewing, but then the late games would have fucked me anyways. New Orleans fucked me actually. Whatever. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's unfortunately, man.
I'm not touching bets tonight because I don't bet Raiders games. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to cap them properly. I honestly don't. I just can't keep bias out of it. I mean, I might look at it anytime, but I just for me to be like take a spread, I just can't. I don't know how.
I'm with you, man. I don't bet Green Bay really unless it's a casual bet. You know, I don't take serious positions, so that's fair. We got a couple games on Saturday. I'm sure we could jump into as well. So
yeah, and so neither of us kick off tonight. Like,
no, there's no. We get a reprieve. Yeah, he's got that Johnson kid, so we're gonna see him. We're going to see him. I would like to give a couple pointers out to the consolation guys. We have some notes here, so maybe we'll just give some love here. So the first consolation is between JV, the 10th ranked team, and Jake, the 7th ranked team. Season series, because Jake's new this year, it's a fresh rivalry. He won in week 11, 124 to 115. So obviously he's on a 1-game winning streak with a 10-point average margin of.
Go Jake! Woo! I need Jake to win.
Yeah. So if Jake, if you're listening, because Dorian owns your first pick, Jesus Christ, if you win the consolation, Dorian gets the 1-1. Wow.
How the cookie crumbles.
Wizardry.
That is some sort of fuckery because me and Rosie went back and forth on the Burrows picks. He's like, I'm giving you Jake shitty picks. Jake was second in the league at that time. I'm thinking the one was like an 11th, maybe 10th overall pick. Jake somehow crumbles out of the playoffs, gets the bye in the consolation. And right now I'm looking at a top 4 pick. And if Jake can win, I'm looking at top 2. And if he wins next week, I'm looking at the first overall pick.
That's
so
disgusting,
it essentially gives me a 6th keeper or a fucking another rookie to just stash away and let develop into a blossoming tree.
It's a 6th keeper. I mean, if you somehow get by me this week and you win the championship, you're on the road to back-to-backs, man.
Yeah, it's a good start.
You're just fucking picking up draft picks on the way, man. It's fucking hilarious.
Little rookie farming. So yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Well, so I honestly think JV's an 11-point favorite. I think Jake's got his work cut out for him with no CMC again, but we'll see.
I'm gonna have a chat with Jake tonight and just tell him who I think should be starting on his team.
Yeah, I'll just refrain from commenting. That sounds like collusion. But anyways,
how's that collusion?
2 owners helping each other. I don't know, for a common cause. That's the definition of collusion.
It's not like he's giving me players. I'm just gonna tell him. We talked about it. You just told me, I was like, oh, who should I start, Gurley or Cam? You're like Cam Akers.
Yeah, that's trademarked advice right there. That's registered advice.
Okay.
Then the other match that we're looking at here is number 8 Reynolds against number 12 Rosie, and Rosie actually wants the consolation. I mean, Rosie and I work together, and so we get to chat often about
Rosie's been talking about this consolation since week 6 of the regular season.
Yeah, so, and
I hope Reynolds pounds him.
He's an 8.5 point underdog. We'll see. I mean,
Reynolds doesn't have his picks either. I don't even sure who has them.
Whoever has Reynolds picks,
it might
be you're gonna wait.
It might be the duo.
Oh, for fuck's sakes!
I think possibly.
And they asked me to put my recycling out at 6 a.m. What time is it? You guys are on time.
Really? Eh?
Oh, anyways, Reynolds, you traded your 1-1 away. This is hilarious.
I think what we're gonna see. 1-1. I think his draft starts in the 4th, but.
Well, you guys check out your draft cupboards because you might wake up to a nice little gift here shortly next week,
which is kind of crazy, really, when you think of it. Like, so let's say Silva and I don't know if he does have it. Let me check here. But if Silva and I go to the finals together, that means someone's going to win a championship and have a potential 1-1 pick. And the duo and myself already have decent keeper teams. So that's just adding insult to injury at that point.
If you have the championship ring and you get the winning ballot, I mean, it's the golden ticket. This is the ultimate, man. I love it. I love the added wrinkles. I think they give people opportunity to stay involved and continue to compete. You know, I love it, man. I
Yeah.
feel like it's there. Now we're just giving it some real meaning, you know.
I can't see the draft on this thing. We'll have to
No worries.
look at it later.
I wanted to give a few pointers to guys because I think there's a few guys that just don't know the rules regarding this. So all teams eliminated from the postseason will immediately have their roster locked until postseason 21, which is basically, I think, after the championship.
Yeah.
So there's 4 guys that were locked. So, you know, for instance, Chad and Powell, you guys were the championship guys that were eliminated. And so until the offseason, there's no more moves. And that was voted on a few years ago. And it's basically just to ensure that, you know, you're done. You should not have any impact on the continuing competition. I mean, you know, you've lost, so bye. And so that's the theme here. And then the other thing is the winner of the consolation obviously receives the first draft priority. And this is just to confirm with you guys, if you don't own the pick like Jake and Reynolds do not, the person that owns the pick retains the first overall. So now the second worst team is the last place team remaining. They would receive the most number of ballots in the draft lottery this spring. Mm-hmm. So Rosie, if you don't win the consolation, you're the 12th ranked team. You would then be the de facto leading number of ballots in the remaining draw. So I mean, even if the guys don't win the consolation, you still have a high chance of picking a top value player.
So if Jake was 7th and he loses the consolation, do his ballots get based on the 7th?
Mm-hmm.
The him being 7th?
No. Sorry, the playoff. Yes, the consolation guys, the playoffs do not change theirs. Ours, the 1 through 6, are after the playoffs. Okay. So if I were to lose in the first round, let's say, and I had the lowest point total, I would be then the worst or the best ranking, essentially, the 6th. Now, when you're looking at the bottom 6, the consolation has no impact other than the first overall. So Jake's 7. Yeah. Jake has he has 1 ballot. He has 1 ballot.
So if he doesn't win the consolation, I have his 1. I have 1 ballot for the next. So it's likely I could pick.
Corey got it with the 1 ballot.
Yeah, that's true. I can't believe he beat me, actually.
Man, it's actually disgusting. And he was like, "Did you cheat?" I'm like, "Man, you fucking saw me. Like, and why would I cheat for you? What makes you so special, bro?"
Scarecrow.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right. Well, do we have anything else to wrap up? Any housekeeping items?
I think that's good. I just wanted to make sure everybody has been paid up and everything else before we.
One guy's not paid, but I'm going to cover that and I'll figure it out with the person. Okay. And but so other than that, we're good. And I can send money as soon as the championship's done. So should be right after Christmas, right?
I think, what are we right now? The 17th. So this Sunday is
20th. It'd be the 27th.
Yeah.
Or the Monday
28th. 28th. Yeah. So it'll be like a New Year's gift. Yeah. It'll be like, need to buy a bottle of Cristal.
On La Chandon.
But you know what? I'm not going to spend money before I win it. That's the thing, man. Before we go here, like, woo, you done so good. I ain't done shit yet.
That's true. There's nothing worse than dominating all year and going out of the playoffs. I've done it in hockey a few times where you thinking you're just a fucking beast. And then speaking of hockey, our hockey pool had 3 straight 8 seed team at a 10-team league. The 8th seed team won it 3 straight years, including last year. I snuck into the playoff on a tiebreaker and I won the fucking championship.
That's crazy to me.
Nobody talked to me about
upsets not possible.
Yeah, this is far from over, and I think there's a good group where the cream is rising to the top, and you just need one bad week, man.
I know.
Also, the thing no one else talks about is teams resting guys. This week and next week, teams start resting guys. If they got a wild card locked up, they're not going to be running or throwing to whoever. People will be on snap counts. So
I don't want to think about that. I do know Baltimore is going to keep playing till the end, so I'm not too worried about like
Baltimore's good, I think.
I think Minnesota's competing, so I think Dalvin. Tennessee's still battling. Oh,
Are they?
They're battling. Oh yeah.
They win
They're on
this
the
week,
outside
though.
looking in. They're on the outside
Really?
looking in.
Not
Yeah.
after this week.
We'll see.
Yeah, there could be snap counts in place. So
I'm going to wish everybody the best of luck, including you, Diesel. May the fantasy gods shine brightly. Because of the playoffs, obviously, we're done with the power rankings. So, this is the last time we'll talk until next week. But I wish you the best, everyone. And
good
here's
luck. I guess we'll do a short show next week for a championship. Remember, it doesn't be short, but Well,
I think we should see about getting someone else on. I mean, depending on who's.
Yeah, we've put it out there. We've put it out there a few times, but.
Well, I think championship's a little different. Let's see whoever's in the championship with whoever. Let's get them on, and so let's say it was you and Duo. Then let's get Duo on, or one of the Duo on, or if Cody gets through, let's see if we can get Cody on. Yeah. So.
All right.
I think it's good. So
I'm down.
All right, boys.
All right. Well, good luck, everyone, and good luck, H. I'm sure we'll be talking this evening quite frantically. Although last week, I don't think we talked much about football. Maybe it was because this matchup was looming, but
I guess it'll change. I'll be seeing you on Sunday, fella.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Cheers, boys.
Peace out, guys.
Welcome to this week's episode of Diesel and the Beard.